going on, Bulls fans? How is everybody doing? And welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman. And first off on today's show, did Bradley Beal say no to a Chicago Bulls trade ahead of the NBA trade deadline? Well, Fred Katz had a bombshell report early on yesterday saying Phoenix Suns guard Bradley Beal will not waive his no-trade clause to go to the Chicago Bulls. A source familiar with the three-time All-Stars thinking told The Athletic. And Fred Katz, obviously a tapped-in beat reporter for the NBA and the New York Knicks. So I'm going to take his word for what it is. And honestly, I don't blame Bradley Beal for saying no to a Chicago Bulls trade. But immediately what I thought about, this will make it way more challenging to get a Zach LaVine trade done at the NBA trade deadline, because the early reports we were hearing is it could potentially be like a 3 or 5 team trade where Zach LaVine heads to the Bucks or the Pistons. The Bulls take on Bradley Beal to help match that outgoing salary, and then Jimmy Butler would head to the Phoenix Suns. And Butler has made it crystal clear the Phoenix Suns are at the top of his destinations of choice in terms of where he would want to be traded before the NBA trade deadline. So what could a trade look like for Zach LaVine this upcoming deadline? Well, I got one for you guys, and it's a doozy. And this is actually coming in from Bleacher Report on this one. But it would be Zach LaVine heading to the San Antonio Spurs. And, you know, the Spurs have been my dark horse team for Zach LaVine this entire offseason. And the biggest reason for that is because you think of LaVine's, red flags. He's not the best defender, and he's got a terrible contract. Well, you got the best defender in the world in Victor Wembanyama, and he is still on his rookie deal, so they can take on his contract. And I don't think, his defensive lapses would be, as seen with the San Antonio Spurs. But also in this blockbuster deal, the Warriors would be receiving Brandon Ingram. The Pelicans would get Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins. And then the Bulls would get a bunch of expiring contracts: Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, Kevon Looney, Gary Payton II, and 2 second-round picks. I don't love this package for Zach LaVine. I think you can get more from him, but the biggest advantage to this deal for the Chicago Bulls would just be that you are moving off Zach LaVine and his contract. So watch out for a trade, potentially him going to the San Antonio Spurs before the deadline. But also coming up on today's show, we are getting reports that multiple teams are interested in a Lonzo Ball deal. And Patrick Williams, could he be dealt? We got a trade idea there. And then also Zach LaVine, what's the latest we're hearing on his front? We'll dive into it on today's show. But first off, a friendly reminder to hit that subscribe button and help us reach 11,000 subscribers here on the channel. We just need about 412 more of you guys to hit that sub button, lock us in. Do not miss a thing around the Chicago Bulls. It's going to be a crazy next week and a half with the trade deadline next Thursday. So please help us out here. Help us reach 11,000 subscribers, and just go down there, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss a thing around your Chicago Bulls. All right, so the Lonzo Ball trade rumors start off from Evan Sittery saying the Clippers, Heat, Hornets, Lakers, Magic, Pistons, and Timberwolves have all held exploratory trade talks with the Bulls centered around Lonzo Ball. They followed that up saying Chicago would be open to moving Ball's $21.3 million expiring contract in exchange for second-round draft capital. Now, my early reaction to this report would be I wouldn't love the Bulls just, cutting bait with Lonzo Ball just to get some second-round picks. I understand you want to get more draft capital as we do shift towards this rebuild and youth movement here in Chicago, but for a couple of second-round picks, I don't know if I would love just cutting bait with Lonzo. I would rather just have him ride out this season. He gets a little healthier. You get a better or just a bigger sample size of who post-injury Lonzo Ball could be, and then you make a decision during free agency, because I do think if Lonzo does test free agency this summer, I think he would have some inclination to sign back with the Chicago Bulls, considering they were the team that have been by his side throughout this whole rehab process. But what could a trade look like? I found this one out there on the internet, and it is Tim Hardaway Jr. and 2 second-round picks for Lonzo Ball. Now, Tim Hardaway this season for the Detroit Pistons, he's having an all right year. He's been a sharpshooter, a flamethrower in the NBA for the last couple of seasons, a very streaky shooter. I mean, he'll have weeks where he'll shoot 70% from downtown, but then he'll also have multiple weeks where he is just, he just couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. But still a very solid floor spacer, and I think that would be a key advantage for the Bulls, considering you want guys like Giddey, Kobe White, and Ayo to develop. Well, a great way to help them develop is just getting them easier driving lanes. And Tim Hardaway, his shot chart, he's a sniper, man. 47% from the left corner, 36% from the right corner, and then above the break, 41% from the left wing, 35% from the top of the key, right wing, 35% as well. So clearly still a very good shooter in Tim Hardaway. But again, Am I cool with the Bulls just cutting bait with Lonzo for Tim Hardaway and then 2 second-round picks? I would rather have them just keep Lonzo, ride out the rest of this season, but I do understand the argument, and I'm sure you guys will say it in the comment section. We need draft capital. We need draft capital. I get that. I just don't know if I would be willing to move off Lonzo for just a couple of second-round picks. Now we'll dive into more around Zach LaVine and Patrick Williams here in a second. But first, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Now, if you guys download the Prize Picks app today, plug in that promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is Prize Picks? Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And with the big game, 2 Sundays from now, the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. They actually got a deal where 1 Patrick Mahomes passing yard will get you 1 win on Prize Picks. So take advantage. Throw this in all of your lineups 2 weekends from now. And trust me, you guys could have a nice payday if you use this. So make sure to include that in your lineups. But make sure you guys also download the Prize Picks app, plug in promo code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. But massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, what's the Patrick Williams trade idea thrown out there? Because I know Bulls fans want to move off him, but I don't know if this is the deal I would be down to. So it would be Nurkic, center for the Phoenix Suns. A prototypical big body, good rebounder, can create a lot of open space in the lane, but he's not the most skilled player at the 5 spot. I understand we're frustrated with Patrick Williams, but I don't want to move off him unless it's for picks or young players. Now listen, if the team offers you like a first and a second for Patrick Williams plus Nurkic, then yeah, maybe I would consider it. But I understand he's been frustrating, but still, he will still show flashes of being a very, very effective basketball player. Like, think about the modern day game. What really has been translating the winning at the highest level, it's those 3-and-D wings, and that is Patrick Williams' archetype. But his shot chart on the season, he has struggled to shoot the ball from beyond the arc. But I'll tell you what, in that left corner, man, 61% from 3, absolutely fantastic. Normally righties have an easier time shooting from the left corner compared to the right just because their vision gets cut off by the backboard in the right corner. But above the break, left wing, 37%, top of the key, 33%, and right wing, 26%. So not the best shooter from the right side of the floor. He's also been pretty inefficient getting to the basket this season. But listen, I'll ask you guys this. What say you on this one? Would you trade Patrick Williams? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no down below in the comment section. I'm not doing it unless you get a young player or a lot of draft capital. I understand we're frustrated with him, but you also just gave him a 5-year, $90 million deal. Are we just going to have the first half of the season just say, hey, we're completely cutting bait with the guy? I just don't know if that would be necessarily the right call. But you guys let me know. Would you trade Patrick Williams? Y for yes or give me an N for no. All right, let's dive into the next one here. This is around Zach LaVine heading to the Detroit Pistons. We've heard they could be interested in them, but it is the Bulls receiving Brandon Ingram, Wendell Moore, and a second-round pick, where the Pistons get Torrey Craig, Zach LaVine, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, and then the Pelicans will get Simone Fontecchio, Tim Hardaway Jr., Marcus Sasser, who I'm a big fan of, and then they'll also get 2 second-round picks. But in terms of the Bulls and Brandon Ingram, I really have no interest on the Ingram front. Yes, he is on an expiring deal, so it's not like, hey, you trade for him, he's going to be a part of this, team for the next couple of years. But still, I just don't get the point. Considering also, like, what has been my biggest gripe with the Bulls team this season, and specifically Billy Donovan, it's them not playing Modest Buzelis. Well, if you go trade for an all-star that plays the same position as Modest, that just means his minutes will be about the same at about 12 minutes per game. And plus with Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips still getting consistent tick in this rotation. If you would bring in Ingram, I just don't really see the advantage of that. And I still believe you can get more for a Zach LaVine trade. I understand his contract is bad. I understand all the conversation this offseason was, how bad that contract is. He's the most untradeable asset in the NBA. I hear all that, but this season he has been seriously impactful for the Chicago Bulls. And yes, has it translated the wins? No. But also the Bulls team around him is just not that good. They can't play any defense whatsoever. They honestly they don't have one plus defender besides Modest who plays 12 minutes a game. Besides that, I mean, when they roll out the lineup of Josh Giddey, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic, and then whoever it is at that 4 spot, it's one of the worst defensive lineups in the league. Hence why the Bulls are giving up over 120 points per game this season. But I'm not a big fan of any of those trades. Maybe that first 4-team trade we saw, I would maybe be a fan of, but still, just not the biggest fan of any of these deals for the Chicago Bulls. But hey, if you guys made it to the end, give me a C-red down below in the comments section so I can know where all the real ones are at. Love chopping it up with you guys in the comments. I know we don't disagree on everything that I say here on the show, but hey, that's why I love what we do here. It's an open conversation, so chime in down below. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Help us reach 11,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate it. Don't miss a thing around your Chicago Bulls. See you guys next time. As always, go Bulls.